Grace unfolding, oh miracle, it's you alone. Oh mystery, grace unfolding, oh who brings us home. Shehechiyanu, Shehechiyanu, Lazman Shehechiyanu, the Kimanu, Shehechiyanu, Lazman oh mystery, grace unfolding, oh miracle, it's you alone. Oh mystery, grace unfolding, oh miracle, who brings us home. Good morning, good afternoon.
Hey.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for that beautiful chant, Rabbi Shefa Gold and Rachmiel. Just a brief word of introduction before we get started learning the Shehechiyanu today. First is, this is the final class in our 10-part series, and we will be sending out a feedback form tomorrow about this series, about what you might like to learn in the future. So please look out for an email with that, and we'll also be sending the recording of the session and the playlist of all the sessions in that follow-up email. So a little bit about Rabbi Shefa Gold. Rabbi Shefa is a leader in Aleph, the Alliance for Jewish Renewal, and received her ordination both from the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College and from Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shlomi. She is the director of Sea Deep, the Center for Devotional, Energy, and Ecstatic Practice in Gemma Springs, New Mexico. Shefa composes and performs spiritual music, of which you just got a taste. And she has produced 10 albums, and her liturgies have been published in several new prayer books. So we are very grateful to have you here with us today, and along with your husband, Rachmiel, who will provide musical accompaniment and presence. Mm-hmm. And I will also post the source sheet in the chat box now in case you wanted to print it out for the lesson, though there will also be a screen share. And I will turn it back over to you, Rabbi Shefa Gold.
Thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Good to be here. It's the kind of an amazing moment here, and that's really what we're celebrating when we say this blessing. So I want to just I always love to do this, of just to take a minute to look around the Zoom room. Yeah. I call it what you call the circle of squares, to connect yourself to everyone else here, all of us coming together with in blessing and inquiry and curiosity. Some of us names, some of us faces, but we want to acknowledge just first of all the miracle of Zoom that we have this opportunity to be together. So this blessing really is a very important practice for me, and because it does a number of different things, of functions for me spiritually, to bring me into the moment, to wake me up, to give me an appreciation of the uniqueness of this moment. And I had this experience a number of years ago where sometimes I sit in my meditation room, and sometimes my practice is always kind of changing, but sometimes I just sit there and see what arises. And I decided to just flip through a siddur, a prayer book, and I came across this blessing, and the blessing is pretty ancient. It's pretty, it's in the written about in the Talmud in 3 different places. So we know that it has some importance and some weight to it. And it's a blessing that you say when you do something for the first time, or see something for the first time, or see someone you haven't seen in a long time, which is actually what we've been doing now as we begin to come out of isolation. So this blessing will come in very handy. But this moment when I was looking at that blessing, I had this realization, and the realization was that if I was awake, I could say this blessing every single moment, because every moment is new. Every moment has sort of been the culmination of this whole journey of my life that has brought me here. And I can, and suddenly I realized, how most of the time I'm kind of asleep. I'm not realizing that. I'm not realizing the miracle of this moment. And so I sat there and I sang these words, and we can take a look at them now. If you want to share this on the screen, I call it a meditation on the moment. And the blessing itself begins with the kind of usual blessing formula: Baruch Atah, and then Yud He Vav He, Eloheinu Melech HaRuach HaOlam. And then these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, really. That says Shehechiyanu, V'kiyamanu, V'higiyanu Lazman Hazeh. And as I was singing it, these English words came to me as a kind of a way of framing this blessing. I said, "Oh, mystery," and mystery is one of my favorite names of God. And so I call on God. I say, "Oh, mystery, grace unfolding." It means that there's something happening right now, and I want to pay attention to it. Grace, which is the quality of sort of the divine flow, is unfolding. And then another name of God that I call on, "Oh, miracle." And I direct my attention. Whenever you say a blessing, one of the reasons that you say a blessing is you receive something, and then you want to bring your attention to the giver of that, what you just received, or what you are receiving. And so I turn to that mystery, that miracle, and I say, "Oh, it's you alone. Oh, mystery, grace unfolding." And then that name again, "Oh, miracle." And this is what's happening now. Oh, who brings us home. So I am coming home to myself, to this moment. So that's kind of how I sing. And at the end of the hour, we'll sing this together again. But I want to kind of, I guess we call it unpack it. Just take one word at a time to see if we can understand what that word is and what it's doing. And what I've done is to pick a sacred phrase that might illuminate that word from from the Psalms or from Scripture that will help us to understand what each of those words mean. So the first word, Shehechiyanu, has in it the word chai, life, and I call it vitality. And literally, it means that who has given us life, and the life that you have given us. When we say this word, we turn to the life force that has brought us here. And realize, oh my God, we've all been through so much. Mm-hmm. We've struggled, and we've been blessed, and we've been guided. And there is a treasure in this moment waiting to be discovered and mined. There is a force that animates us, a soul spark that kindles enthusiasm for the journey. This realization that life has a unique purpose is energizing. And so I want to tune into that animating life force. And so I picked a practice that I call resilience, and I want to do that with you. And it's a way of then kind of understanding what Shehechiyanu means. And the words say, Im elech bekerev tzara, tichayeni. So here's a picture of our lives. Even though we walk in the midst of tsuras, of trouble, there's something happening at the very same moment if we can pay attention to it. There is a life force coming in to animate us, to enliven us, to give us vitality in order to deal with whatever tsuras is on our plate. So when we say Shehechiyanu, we want to tune into that. And so I want to chant this with you, and just see sometimes the feeling of the little bit of a drudgery of life, of just trying to get through the difficulties of life. And we say, Imelech bekerev tzara, Imelech bekerev tzara. So even when I walk in the midst of trouble, tichayeni, which means you are giving me life. So let's walk again in that trouble, and then we'll get ready for that turning towards that animating force. Imelech bekerev tzara, Imelech bekerev tzara, Imelech bekerev tzara. And then we turn and open. Tichayeni, tichayeni. So sing this with me and feel it as the rhythm of our lives. This kind of walking through the difficulties, and then in a moment feeling the life force giving us this vitality. So open your mouth really wide so I know you're chanting here. Imelech bekerev tzara, Imelech bekerev tzara, Imelech bekerev tzara. And then we turn and open. Tichayeni, tichayeni. Can you feel that aliveness? Imelech
B'kerev Zerah. Imelech B'kerev Zerah. Techayeni. Techayeni.
Once more.
Imelech B'kerev Zerah.
Even though I'm walking in the midst of trouble.
Imelech B'kerev Zerah. Imelech B'kerev Zerah.
Opening to the life force.
Techayeni. Techayeni.
And again, Tichayeni.
Techayeni. Techayeni.
And the last time.
Techayeni. Techayeni.
So close your eyes and just breathe in that animating force. And feel it just really in every part of your body, just giving you this sense of life, vitality, and awareness of what a long, strange trip it's been to get here and to still be alive. And really want to kind of open up to that aliveness. And the Chernobyl Rebbe says that aliveness is God that is moving through us. And if you just notice that word Tichayeni, has that same root in it that's Shehechiyanu. You can see that chai word, that life force word. So you are giving me life. And when we can we have that realization that there is this life force, what it brings to us is a sense of resilience, but also a sense of the miraculousness of even when I'm in the midst of trouble, I still have access to this life force. So the second word, and if you want to, Julie, if you want to move up the handout a little, is Shehechiyanu. And the Shehechiyanu, I'm translating that as sustained presence. You have so you have given us life. You've let us live till this moment, and then there is this sustaining presence that keeps us going. And that word Shehechiyanu is also in the prayer, the Moda Ani prayer, V'kayam. Rachai V'kayam, the Spirit lives and endures. So it's a kind of enduring presence, and that sustains me. And so I say that we have survived in order to thrive in the world and the world that is emerging right now. So when I say Shehechiyanu, I have a sense of the potential in this moment. And I make a commitment to explore and unfold that potential in ways that will sustain and inspire others. So this is a life force. Not only are we enlivened by it, but we are sustained and we become givers of that sustaining force that is moving through us. So I thought about, well, what is another sacred phrase that can illuminate this force, this sustaining presence, this force. And I thought of Psalm 23 that says, it's the psalm that says, the Lord is my shepherd. I'm not going to need anything else. And there is this line in the psalm that says, Kosi Rivaya. That means that there is a cup that is overflowing with everything I need. So I sense this cup really at the center of my own heart, the place where I am sourced by the divine presence. And what I want to do when I say this Shehechiyanu prayer, Shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu, I want to touch that place in me that sustains me, that is plugged in, that is, because life will receive, the overflow of that place of resource. So I want to chant these words with you. You can and it's just 2 words. You can just say them first. Kosi.
Kosi.
Rivaya.
Rivaya.
So Kosi is my cup, and Rivaya, it means that it's overflowing with exactly what I need in order to face the challenges of my life. So here I come to this blessing of Shehechiyanu. I feel the uniqueness of this moment. I say Shehechiyanu, and then I say, when I say V'kiyamanu, I touch this place inside me that is sustaining me through all of it. So I invite you to, as we chant it, to close your eyes and imagine that cup that's at the center of your being. I sort of see it inside my heart, and I see that cup has in it everything that I need, and it changes my mood, it changes the quality of my presence to know it's there. Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, Kosi Rivaya, And imagine the cup that's at the center of your heart. And just imagine what it looks like, what that cup looks like, what it's made of. And imagine touching it and feeling the temperature of the cup. See if it's warm, if it's cold. Really make it, and then look inside the cup and see it is overflowing. It is overflowing. It is filled. It is filled with exactly what you need. So imagine what's in your cup. What's the liquid in your cup that symbolizes that? And if Julie would just stop the share for a moment. Sometimes when I feel that cup inside me, I also notice that cup that is inside me, that place of resource, is not just inside me, it's also between us. There's a sense of that our connection with each other in spiritual practice creates a cup. And I want to just ask you to open your eyes, take a look around the Zoom room, make a connection, because that's also what gives us the sense of resources, is the connection that we have with each other. Because between us, that sustaining force is flowing. So I want to, I don't know if the chat is open. I guess if you want to write in the chat something about what your cup looked like and what was inside it, I always love to hear about it. Sometimes people have chocolate or wine or liqueur, or what's in your what's the image in the cup that you beautiful Jewish learning, and is it silver, is it gold, is it studded with jewels? The more that you can use your imagination and find the images of what's there. So gold cup with jewels filled with rich nectar, red liquid. Oh, tomato soup, yes. Comforting, yes. So it's. I feel like our well-being depends on how connected we are, how much we can access that cup that is inside us, but also the cup that is between us too. So we have this Shehechiyanu, this vitality, and this is, when something happens for the first time, it means like we wake up, we realize what a miracle it is that we've reached this, that we've lived this long. V'kiyamanu, we have been sustained, and that sustaining force is still in us. That's what's important, because at a certain point, you're going to need to find that cup inside you, and it will to be able to give you what you need. And I want to say that your prophetic imagination is absolutely essential to your spiritual practice. That imagination of being able to see it, and not just visually, but sensing it inside you. And then the last. For a little part of the prayer says Shehechiyanu lazman hazeh. So we can go back to the handout again and just take a look at those words. Shehechiyanu lazman hazeh, and Shehechiyanu is the word that means that you have arrived. And Lazman Hazet is that you have arrived in this moment. So that arrival rests on a certain kind of awareness and appreciation of this moment that you have arrived. And I like to think of our Jewish lives as a kind of a paradox that, we're on this journey. That's what our whole Torah is about the journey that we're on. And it is a dangerous journey to the promised land, from this place of constriction to the place of the flow of milk and honey. We're on this journey, and there's a kind of struggle to our lives on this journey, that each step is, has its complexity. And the paradox is, we've already arrived. We can wake up and say, oh, the promised land is right here. There's a reggae song that says, the promised land is a state of mind. The promised land is a state of mind. And so we want to be able to touch that state in a place of like, oh yeah, I can rest here. I've already arrived in this place, in this moment. So that sense of arrival is asks us to make a commitment to fully inhabit our lives, because often we're looking towards the past, or we're looking for what's going to happen next, and so we're not really here. So this Shehechiyanu Lazman Hazeh says, like, come home to this moment. It has in it everything that you need. And it also means that you're accepting particular predicaments and challenges, while at the same time you're opening up to the gifts that allow us to rise to those challenges. And in that moment, you focus in on this moment, but you also open up to an awareness of the big picture and to our small yet essential place in that vastness. So that's why in the Shehechiyanu prayer I said, oh miracle, oh mystery, who brings us home. It's like, this moment can be a homecoming, which is feeling at home means that you belong to the cosmos. You can relax. You can feel yourself connected to all of life in that feeling of coming home. You're coming home to yourself, but when you do that, you're coming home to God, who has been waiting for you there all along at your center. So I was thinking about, what might be a good sacred phrase to help us to have that feeling of being found. And there's that song, Amazing Grace. Once I was lost, and now I'm found. What is that feeling of being found, of coming home, of having been lost somewhere out in my distracting thoughts, and then something wakes me up to the miracle of this moment, and I feel myself found. So there's these words in the Song of Songs, and the Song of Songs to me is kind of my central text, my holy of holies, because I feel like it brings love to the center of my life. But there's a phrase that actually repeats twice in the Song of Songs. It's important, and it says "mitza'uni," which is the word that means I'm found, right? And who am I? I'm found by Hashomrim Hasovavim Ba'ir, the watchmen who circle the city. And I think of that as awareness itself. It's like, I woke up to this awareness of the miraculous nature of this moment, and the uniqueness of it, and the firstness of it. So in the Song of Songs, the lover is looking for her beloved, and then the watchmen of the walls find her, And in that sense of being found, in the next sentence she finds her beloved. And in a sense, we are lost in the wilderness, and we find our promised land in that moment. So I want to chant these words to kind of illuminate Shehechiyanu Lesman Hazeh, arriving in this very moment. Mitzaoni Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Shomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni 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 Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni 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 Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni Hashomrim Hasovavim Bayim Mitzaoni Mitzaoni. Close your eyes, bring your attention to the breath. Imagine breathing into the heart and just relaxing, feeling like, oh, I've come home. I've come home to this moment. And what a miracle that I've lived this long, that I have been sustained, that I've had the blessing to arrive in this place, this moment with all its simple pleasures and difficult complexities, all of it. And if, Julie, if you want to stop the screen share, again, we can just, again, take a look around there, because you're all part of this moment for me. We are all part of this moment for each other. And Sharon's dog, and I'm sure there's other animals around here too, who are part of making this moment special. And the fact that Mary Rita and Batya are wearing the same color, it's like, wow, this moment has never happened before. So I wanted to leave some time for questions or discussion, and then I'm going to end with the Shehechiyanu prayer to really celebrate this moment together. So I don't know if you want to put a question in the chat, or and maybe because that's and I have one friend who says this blessing at every meal, and I think it was an amazing practice. I lived with her family once, and we sat down at the table at every dinner, and we held hands, and however many people who were in the circle, that's how many times we squeezed hands, and we said Shehechiyanu as our blessing for the meal that we lived long enough to eat. And that meal was going to sustain us. It was going to give us life and sustain us, and help us to come home to ourselves. So so anybody who there's a message here. It was, since it was in the Talmud in 3 different places, and I wrote that on the handout, in Talmud Brachot, in Pesachim and Sukkah. It was it's pretty early. I'm not. I was afraid somebody would ask me that question, but because I don't know exactly
when the blessing
was written
down.
But it is pretty ancient, and a lot of discussion about when you say it, when you don't. But I feel like, it is, this awareness of the uniqueness of this moment is really kind of like something that wakes us up and allows us, takes the veils off our jadedness, allows us to see something of God's presence in this moment. And God's presence shows up as, like the particular, like when I'm with people, it's like, this particular connection between these souls has never happened before.
In this setting, this situation.
In this situation. And so, what that tells me is that there might be a potential to unlock in this particular situation that maybe I didn't see before. And so I want to be able to rise to the occasion, of this moment, to celebrate it and to bless it. For our health and surviving a pandemic. I said the Shehechiyanu blessing also when I got my COVID shot, because I felt like, oh my God, I lived to see this moment. I was so overflowing with the miracle of the moments, and so I think that it can wake. How about you, Julie? You have a question? You can unmute.
Let's see. Sure, I'll ask a question.
Sure.
When is Shehechiyanu traditionally said, in terms of the holidays or anything like that?
Well, it's said at the beginning of holidays, like I think on Rosh Hashanah, at the Seder, and let's see, it's like when it's the first thing. It's also said when you eat something for the first time, when it's the first day of a holiday, when you light the candles, that you also say the Shehechiyanu prayer, and that's the tradition. And when you eat something, when you see someone you haven't seen in a long time, and I think those are most of the things. that are the tradition. But it's our job to take the tradition and evolve it into that this is kind of a treasure sitting there that is. And what I do with melody is that I want to take that prayer that's sitting on the page and bring it to life, and extrapolate on it, and to be able to say this prayer has a meaning, but it also has a function, and that function really is to wake me up to the holiness, the uniqueness, and possibility of this moment. So imagine a life where you are in the Shehechiyanu state of mind all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be something to aspire to, because every moment really is so new. How would you introduce this prayer to younger kids? I think just taking, when there is a moment, to be able to...
They're like always in the present moment.
Right. To notice it and bless it, to bless this moment. Let's see. Now they're coming in here. I say at the beginning of each class, we've come together again. We're learning, yeah. And when you put on a new item or a new garment, I think that that you could say it all the time.
If it comes to mind, go ahead.
And sometimes just when Rachmel and I are living our lives, and then we something happens, and we kind of say, "Oh, this is a Shehechiyanu moment."
Yeah.
It's
wow.
like we didn't know that we would live to see this day.
It's amazing. Yeah.
This is, so I think that maybe we'll end with singing this Shehechiyanu prayer, and if you want to share it again, and I would say that this melody that came to me, it's also a two-part round, so that you can hear the Hebrew when you're singing the English, and hear the and vice versa, and it has a power to it, and actually I have a CD that's called Transformations, which you can download through oysongs, oysongs.com, and it's the first track of that CD. And before we do it, I'll just say there's a lot of opportunities if people want to come and study with me. I teach a class every Thursday night that anybody's invited to come to. I have this wonderful project called Love at the Center, which is really about using the Song of Songs to put love at the center of our lives and live it. And you can find all that on my website, rabbishefagold.com. Plus, I'm starting to teach retreats again in person, which is and this modality that is chanting is really about taking a piece of Torah, of scripture, or of liturgy, and putting inside me, living, embodying it, putting it in my heart and my body so that I can live it and not just think about it. So this is bringing Judaism deeper into my life so that I can live it more authentically, and the melody, the rhythm, the sound of these words as incantations really helps me to do that. So we'll end with this prayer, and I'll invite you to sing along with us, and you can share the words again. We'll sing it through all the way through first, and then we'll go into a round. Shehechiyanu
Lazman hazeh Shehechiyanu V'kimanu V'higyanu Lazman hazeh. Oh, mystery, grace unfolding. Oh, miracle, it's you alone. Oh, mystery, grace unfolding. Oh, miracle, who brings us home. Shehechiyanu, the grace unfolding. Lazman hazeh Shehechiyanu, the grace unfolding. Lazman hazeh Shehechiyanu, mystery, grace unfolding. Oh, miracle, it's you alone. Oh, mystery, grace unfolding. Oh, miracle, who brings us home. Shehechiyanu, the grace unfolding. V'higyanu, Lazman hazeh Shehechiyanu, v'kimanu,